Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Hockey Talk with TG. I'm Ty Glenn, and you're listening to this on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your local podcast stream platforms. So today, I'm going to recap Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Final between the Florida Panthers and New York Rangers, plus preview Game 1 of the Western Conference Final between the Oilers and Stars, as that game comes on today, and talk about more NHL news on this episode. So stay tuned right there. Do not go anywhere. All right, so I'm going to start with Panthers Rangers Game 1 Eastern Conference Finals. So the Panthers, they shut out the Rangers 3-0 in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Final, and therefore they lead the series 1-0. Now, on my bracket, I did predict that the New York Rangers will win against the Florida Panthers, but my mind tells me that I could be wrong. And so I have a feeling in my head that I could be wrong about the Rangers beating the Panthers, and that the Panthers will win this series against the Rangers and go on to the Stanley Cup Final for the second straight year. So that's what it's coming to. Plus, they just shut out the Rangers in Game 1. But hey, you got like 3 more games to play. Possibly if you try and sweep them. But I don't think it's going to be a sweep. Sergei Bobrovsky, he made 23 saves for the shutout win, and Matthew Tkachuk had the game-winning goal, which was scored in that first period on a beautiful laser eye shot right there. Top shell pass Igor Shesterkin. He and Carter Verhaeghe, Matthew Tkachuk and Carter Verhaeghe, each had a 2.9 with 1 goal, 1 assist. Of course, Alexis Lafreniere gave Carter Verhaeghe that goal because he put the goal in his old net, going 5-0 on Igor Shesterkin. So I don't know what Alexis Lafreniere was thinking right there, but hey, it is what it is. It happens. We do hate it that it happens, but hey, it is what it is. And the Panthers, they outshot the Rangers 27-23 in this game, so they were just all over New York. And I feel like the Rangers came out slow. They weren't generating enough, and they had no signs of momentum in this game. So I hate to say that about them, even though I'm not a Rangers fan, but that's what I saw in that game. Like, they were coming out slow. They didn't put up much of a fight. They did try to make it a close game, which I do. I can see that. They tried to make it a close game with them and the Florida Panthers, but they just weren't generating enough. So the Panthers came out with the win. But we'll see if they can even up the series tomorrow, because Game 2 of this Best of 7 series is Friday, May 24th at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time on ESPN. So we'll see if the Panthers will go up 2-0, take both games on the road at Madison Square Garden, or will the Rangers even up the series at 1 apiece heading to the Sunshine State, Florida for Game 3 on Sunday. So we'll just see what happens right there. But yeah, I didn't expect the Panthers to have like a shutout in Game 1, but they did. Moving on now, so Sheldon Keefe. If you guys don't know already, I don't know if this has been official or not, but Sheldon Keefe was hired as head coach of the New Jersey Devils. So he previously coached the Toronto Maple Leafs for 5 years, going to 12, 97, and 40. He was fired as the head coach on May 9th, just a week after the Leafs lost to the Bruins in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And fun fact, Sheldon Keefe actually coached the Toronto Marlies hockey team, which of course is the AHL team of the Toronto Maple Leafs. In the postseason with the Leafs, he's 16-21, and he's only won 1 playoff series with them, which was, of course, against the Tampa Bay Lightning last year in the first round of Stanley Cup playoffs. So they went to the second round for the first time in 19 years. But I'm excited to see what Sheldon Keefe does for the Devils. Obviously, the Devils missed out on the playoffs this year, and they made the playoffs last year, and they had a second-round exit to the Carolina Hurricanes. So I'm excited to see what he does for the New Jersey Devils, coaching Jack Hughes, of course, his brother Luke Hughes, Nico Hischier. I feel like the Devils should be sort of a playoff team. I'm not 100% sure, but they could be a playoff team next year with, of course, Sheldon Keefe's playoff experience and other reasons. So I can't wait to see what Sheldon Keefe does for the New Jersey Devils. This was one I did not see coming. I don't know if I said this on my podcast on if he could be a head coach for the New Jersey Devils, but I did not see that coming. I did not know that the Devils were going to hire Sheldon Keefe as the head coach. Of course, they fired Lindy Ruff, who's now the head coach of the Buffalo Sabres, but I did not think that the Devils would hire Sheldon Keefe. And that's one that probably most people did not think at all. Like, they didn't think like Sheldon Keefe was going to go to the New Jersey Devils to be their head coach and all. But hey, it is what it is. All right, moving on now. So Ryan McDonough, he's traded back to the Tampa Bay Lightning by the Predators. So the Predators, they sent him back to Tampa. I don't know why they did this. This was kind of an awkward trade to me. I don't know what Barry Trotz is cooking in Nashville. I know The Rock always says, if you smell what The Rock is cooking. Well, I don't know what Barry Trotz is cooking in Nashville. I don't know why he decided to send Ryan McDonough back to the Tampa Bay Lightning. I just feel like you get a guy like the Predators. He played with the Predators for 2 seasons. Of course, this season, of course, last season. So they didn't get him, and then they ship him back to Tampa. Like, I don't get that at all. But during that trade, the Lightning also received a 2024 4th-round pick from the Edmonton Oilers. And before Ryan McDonough was traded to the Nashville Predators, of course, he played with the Lightning for 5 seasons. That was during 2017 and 2022. But keep in mind that he was playing for the Rangers for that first half of the 2017-18 season. And then he was traded to the Lightning at the trade deadline during the 2017-18 season. So keep that in mind. He did win the Stanley Cup with Tampa in 2020 and 2021. That was during the back-to-back Stanley Cup seasons when he was on the Tampa Bay Lightning. During his final season with the Nashville Predators, he managed to get 32 points in 74 games, so 3 goals, 29 assists for 32 points in the 2023-2024 season with the Predators. Overall, he has put up 52 points in 145 games played with Nashville, so 5 goals, 47 assists for 52 points. Like I mentioned, he played 2 seasons for them. And, of course, the Lightning, they missed out on the playoffs this year. Well, actually, no, they didn't. They did make the playoffs this year. I don't know where my mind was thinking that. But, of course, they had a first-round exit to the Florida Panthers in 5 games. So, we'll see what Ryan McDonough could do for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Probably lead them to another Stanley Cup. Not sure. We're not even sure what the Lightning are going to do with Steven Stamkos, because I don't know what Steven Stamkos' plan is, whether he's going to stay with the Lightning. I 100% think he's going to stay with Tampa. He probably won't retire. He's probably going to stay with Tampa. He won't go anywhere else. I would love to see him still in the Tampa Bay Lightning sweater and not go to another team, because then that's just going to feel weird. And I'm going to be like, why did you trade him? Or why did this team sign him? And, all the other stuff. So I don't know what the future holds for Steven Stamkos, but hopefully if he still continues to play, he can still play for the Tampa Bay Lightning. All right, moving on now. So Rick Tocchet, he takes home the Jack Adams Award. And, of course, if you don't know, that award goes to the Coach of the Year. And he guided the Canucks to first place in the Pacific Division in his first full season with Vancouver. And they had a 50-23-9 record in the regular season. And this was the Vancouver Canucks' first division title since 2013. And he's the 3rd Canucks coach to win the award, and the first to do so since Alan Viginaut. Hopefully I pronounced that last name right. He became the first Canucks coach to win it since Alan Viginaut, since he won in 2006, 2007. And of course, the Canucks had a second-round exit at home in Game 7 to the Edmonton Oilers. They lost 3-2. They tried to put up a fight in that third period in Game 7, but fell short. And the Jack Adams Award was the fourth trophy to be handed out so far in the during the Stanley Cup playoffs. This was the fourth award handed out. Of course, Alexander Barkov won the Frank J. Selke Trophy on May 18th, and that award is handed out to the best forward who best excels in defensive aspects of the game of hockey. Connor Ingram won the Bill Masterton Trophy on May 16th. That award is handed out to perseverance, sportsmanship, and dedication. And, of course, Rangers captain Jacob Trouba won the Mark Messier NHL Leadership Award on May 15th. And, of course, that award is handed out to leadership or kind of like playing a role within your community. And speaking of head coaches and all that other stuff, Jim Hiller will remain as head coach for the LA Kings. Of course, he replaced Todd McCullough on February 2nd. And during that span, where he was like an interim head coach, he went 21-12-1 with Los Angeles. And, of course, the Kings finished third in the Pacific Division with a 44-27-1 record during the regular season. And though they finished third in the Pacific Division, they were taken out by the Edmonton Oilers for the third straight year in the first round of Stanley Cup playoffs. But this time it was not in 7 games like it was the first 2 years. It was in 5 games. And the Kings, they haven't reached the Western Conference Final since 2014. Of course, they beat the Chicago Blackhawks that year, and they won the Stanley Cup that year. So, yeah, I kind of feel a little bit upset about that, since they had to get through my Chicago Blackhawks to win the Stanley Cup. But we'll see. Maybe the Kings, I don't know what the Kings are going to do, but we'll see what happens if the Kings can somehow get past the first round and possibly advance to the second round. Because I don't think they advanced to the second round since, I guess, 2014, because I know they went against the Sharks in the first round of 2016 Stanley Cup playoffs. They lost in the first round, so they haven't advanced to the second round since 2014, by the way. Okay, now we're going to preview the Oilers and Stars Western Conference Finals. So, of course, Game 1 is today at 7:30 p.m. Central Time on TNT, True TV, and HBO Max. Of course, the Oilers got there by defeating the LA Kings for the third straight year, this time in 5 games, and of course defeating the Canucks in 7. Stars got there by defeating the defending Stanley Cup champion Golden Knights in 7 games and winning against the Avalanche in 6 games. I kind of already did a preview of this in one of my episodes of my podcast, but just to recap it to you guys once again, like I said, the Stars, they're the first NHL team to beat the defending Stanley Cup champions who have won the Stanley Cup the last 2 seasons. Of course, the Golden Knights won it last year. The Avalanche won it in 2022. And I said this on my podcast already, Connor McDavid scored his first NHL goal against the Dallas Stars. He really isn't generating enough so far in the Stanley Cup playoffs, at least for goal-wise. He's racking up assists. But for goal-wise, he only has like 2 goals so far in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So hopefully he can light the lamp throughout the series when they take on the Dallas Stars. But yeah, his first NHL goal was against the Dallas Stars. So they might say that in Game 1 tonight. But if they don't, I'm just letting you guys know if you don't know already. And, of course, the Dallas Stars, for the number 1 seed in the Central Division, they finished 52-21-9 during the regular season. The Oilers are the number 2 seed in the Pacific Division. They finished 49-27-6 during the regular season. Emil Heiskanen, he leads the Stars in the playoffs with 13 points, so 5 goals, 8 assists for 13 points in the Stanley Cup playoffs for Emil Heiskanen. Jake Ottinger, he started all 13 games for the Dallas Stars, going 8-5 with a 2.09 goals against average and a .918 save percentage. And the Stars were 2-0-1 against the Oilers in the regular season. They won 4-3 on the road in Edmonton, and of course they had a 5-0 shutout at home. And of course they lost at home 4-3 in overtime on February 17th. So now it's the only one loss right there. For the Oilers side, Leon Draisaitl leads the Oilers in the playoffs with 24 points. So 8 goals, 16 assists for 24 points right there for Leon Draisaitl. Of course, like I mentioned, Connor McDavid is second with 21 points. So 2 goals, 19 assists for 21 points. And Zach Hyman, of course, he's doing a great job in the NHL, leading the playoffs with 11 goals. Of course, leading the Oilers. Well, we wouldn't say the Oilers. Well, probably the Oilers with 11 goals, but he's leading the Stanley Cup playoffs with 11 goals. And Stuart Skinner, he's 7-3 with a 2.87 goals against average and a .881 save percentage. He has 1 shutout in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and that was during Game 4 of that first round series against the LA Kings. Calvin Pickard has started 2 of these games in Stanley Cup playoffs. Of course, he came in relief of Stuart Skinner in Game 3 in the second round series against the Vancouver Canucks. And he's 1-1 in the playoffs with a 2.21 goals against average and a .915 save percentage in 3 games. Both these teams have Stanley Cup experience. The Stars have only won 1 Stanley Cup. That was in 1999. And the last Stanley Cup final appearance was 2020, which was during the bubble and during COVID. Everything was weird then. The divisions were weird. Teams were weird. And they fell up short to the Tampa Bay Lightning in 6 games. The Oilers have won the Stanley Cup 5 times. That was during 1984, 1985, 1987, 1988, and 1990, which the last recent Stanley Cup win. And their last Stanley Cup final appearance was in 2006 against the Carolina Hurricanes, where they fell up short in 7 games. All right, guys. Well, before I end the podcast, let me give you my predictions, and I'll tell you why I picked either the Oilers or Stars to win and go to the Stanley Cup Finals. So I'm picking the Stars in 6. I'm picking the Stars. They'll probably win in either 6 or 7 games this season. I know I voted against Edmonton in the second round where I had the Vancouver Canucks moving on to the Western Conference Final. But here's a reason why I said Dallas over Edmonton. Because the Stars, there's no way that the Oilers are beating Jake Oettinger with Stuart Skinner in that, because Jake Oettinger is probably one of the best goalies in the NHL. I don't know. But so far in this playoffs, probably besides Igor Shesterkin, Jake Oettinger has been one of the best goalies. And there's no way that the Oilers are winning the series with Stuart Skinner in net. So that's one reason. Another reason is because I like the Stars' forward depth. They have a great forward depth and probably a great defensive pair, but I really like the forward depth a lot more. I feel like they can generate more enough in this series, and that will be enough to defeat the Oilers in 6 or 7 games, if it does happen to go to 7 games. But I really see this series going to 6 games, if not 7. So those are 2 reasons why I'm taking the Stars over the Oilers, and I'm pretty sure most of you guys had the Stars over the Oilers anyway. So, but that's not why. The 2 reasons I just said was why I have the Stars winning over the Oilers. So it could be Dallas Stars in the Stanley Cup Final for that Panthers and Rangers series. Like I said, I'm very unsure. I have the Rangers winning on my playoff bracket, but in my mind tells me that I'm wrong, and the Panthers will win this series probably in 7 games. And they will go on to Stanley Cup Final for the 2nd straight year. So my prediction is Stars and Rangers in the Stanley Cup Final, even though I feel like it could be Stars and Panthers in the Stanley Cup Final this year. So it could be Stars and Panthers in the Stanley Cup Final. And not only that, but also it was during the regular season, it was probably the most favorite to be a Stanley Cup Final matchup between Stars and Panthers. All right, guys, that is going to do it for this video. That's going to do it for this episode. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you to the viewers who are subscribed and follow my podcast for tuning in. I thank you guys truly enough. For the people who for the people who listen or not subscribe to the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because nobody recaps the game and breaks down the game and loves the game of hockey more than I do. like I said, there might be billions and billions and billions of hockey fans that love the game too, but nobody loves the game of hockey more than me. So make sure you subscribe because if you want to stay up to date on the latest hockey news going around the league, this is your podcast right here. So you're going to want to listen to this every weekday from 10:30 to 11 unless I say otherwise. So make sure you follow and or subscribe to the podcast YouTube channel. Anyway, guys, I'll see you guys tomorrow to recap Game 1 of the Oilers and Stars. God first as always. Be blessed. Have a nice day. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and peace.